U.S. President-elect Donald Trump won't officially take office for 2 more months, but we could be feeling the massive effects of his recent electoral win. Trump says he plans to slap a 25% tariff on Canadian products until Canada curbs the flow of drugs and migrants into the U.S. Joining us today to discuss how those tariffs will massively impact Canadian workers is Unifor's national president, Lana Payne. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Melanie.
Lana, let's really paint this picture and explain how massive this impact will be when it comes to workers here.
Well, a full 30% of our economy is tied up into exports to the United States, so that'll give you a sense. And we have, across Unifor, we represent 320,000 workers in nearly every sector of the economy, and many of them are trade-dependent sectors, whether it's auto, energy, forestry, aluminum, mining, a lot of sectors where we build things, we produce things in Canada, where they end up in some form or another in the United States, traded with them. And a tariff on those goods will impact jobs, no doubt in my mind, in Canada across these sectors, and will impact overall the Canadian economy. So this is a very serious move, and something that the entire country needs to turn their attention to, including our, obviously, our political leaders, our business leaders, labor leaders.
Speaking of our political leaders, we heard today from Premier Doug Ford, not mincing his words. He was saying that this threat on this tariff is like a family member stabbing you in the back. I know you have a meeting coming up with the Premier. Can you tee up the conversation that you'll be having?
Absolutely. I think it's important that all the premiers are working well with the federal government in this regard. We need a full-on coordinated approach. That is how serious it is. And I think Premier Ford has been showing that we need to put politics aside here and partisan hats aside and put the interests of Canadian workers front and center. And that is what we want to see as a union. There's no doubt in my mind that when we talk this afternoon, it'll be to talk about the industry specific in Ontario, where this tariff will have a very negative impact on jobs and workers. And I would say the other very important factor, investment. So this is part of Trump's playbook here, is to create chaos and fear that drives investment. And my very big concern right now is the threat of this kind of tariff will impact not just Canadian jobs today, but down the road, because the whole point here is to redirect investment out of Canada and into the U.S. And this is a very big long-term concern that we need to have here in our country.
Lana, have some of your members reached out to you with their concerns? What have they been saying?
Absolutely. I actually met with some members this morning on other matters, and this is exactly what we've been talking about, chatting with some of our local leaders in the auto sector. And of course, the auto sector is very much interconnected between the U.S. and Canada and Mexico too. We have parts that flow back and forth across this border, and how a 25% tariff would impact particularly the parts sector. It's just huge. And then the other side of that are the increased costs that you will see, and Canadian and American consumers will see when you have this kind of tariff being applied across the board.
All right, so we will be looking ahead to your meeting with the Premier. We know there's a First Minister's meeting happening tomorrow evening where this is all very much moving. So we will continue to follow this. Lana Payne with Unifor, thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much.